put it in because I don't know whether there's more than one. Okay. Hello. Well, this is very exciting to have you all here, and we're talking about um, some of the work that
You.
I've been focused on, which is really, I think, fun to have this conversation, fun for me anyway, to have this conversation. So, welcome. Now, because we do the recordings, I want to say some of the things that you guys have heard before or you kind of know, but then it gives a little bit more specific so that if somebody's watching later, they can get the information. So I'm going to introduce my work, and Carrie already knows this, but I've been playing around with Chat GPT of like just different ways to kind of articulate my work. And there's one that came together that I feel is pretty good. It like really does kind of sum up my work. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, which I don't typically do, but I'm new to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm Tanya, a personal growth coach informed by 3 decades as a licensed therapist. I help people clear what I call energetic clutter, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, which is really the inner and outer noise that slips under the radar and keeps us stuck. When people clear that clutter, they reconnect with their inner wisdom and build lives that feel aligned and meaningful. And when they start getting traction, the synergy builds and serendipitous things start to happen. And that's where the magic is. So I help people on that journey. So that is what I do. Now, what I think you guys are also mostly familiar with, although Trisha, we didn't really do it this way with the Zarna meetings because I was sort of waiting for her to come. So I have you guys can choose one of these prompts in your intro. So I love say your name, where you're calling in from, and then um, answer one of these questions. So one is, what is one thing that's been feeling like an energy leak lately? Or share one boundary that you're aware of that you might need to set right now um, or set strengthen. You know, it might be something that you're a little bit wishy-washy with, but you want to be firmer with it.
That was going
I'm
to be my
saying right
question.
now in the near future.
I was going to ask if it was something that we are working on.
Yeah,
Aware. Okay.
yeah. And I usually will cheat and figure out my answer before we all come together. But I did not do that. So I'll have to think also what my answer. Well, I kind of do know my answer. Um, I can start if that's helpful to sort of have an example. So I would say the thing that I've been very aware of being an energy leak lately is my tendency to overthink sometimes if I feel it's actually we were just talking about Molly's wedding and I think I want to overthink because it helps me feel safer. So, like letting go of that urge to overthink and trusting that that overthinking doesn't bring me anywhere good or helpful, and that it actually takes me away from being maybe present with things. So that's for me. Um, does anybody feel ready next, or I can just go around my screen
I can do
as
it.
well?
I can go.
Lori, let's hear it.
Okay, my name is Lori. I'm in Paragould, Arkansas. So I'm our Kansan person here. And the thing that I've kind of like had my struggles or my leaks. I have a friendship with a friend. We've been friends since I was 14 years old, and I'm 67 years old.
Mhm.
And she was a very good friend of my sister Belinda's, and that's when
Mhm.
we were not around each other for years recently, and now it's kind of she's come back in, but I struggle with that because she makes me anxious. She makes me um like nervous, maybe, so to speak. My leak comes
Mhm.
because I can be really strong, and then all of a sudden I want to fix everything for her, and everything that's
Mhm.
happening to her I take personally, and so that's my leak. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
my leak
yeah.
right.
And And do you know what you want to do about it, or more just recognizing, this thing happens? Like I have this dynamic that I experience with her.
Honestly, distance was better for me,
Yeah.
but I don't want to hurt her. So that
Yeah.
I'm not confident with her friendship, I guess is
Yeah.
I'm leaking my confidence wanting to be able to help her or fix her or
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's I've been struggling with that for a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for
That's my
sharing.
week. Hmm.
Yeah, and it sounds like the kind of thing, and we'll talk more obviously about the whole energetic clutter focus and everything, but my sense is there's probably something underneath it. There's something that she's touching on in you that gets you in this kind of like what's like auditioning kind of.
Right,
I don't know if yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So, all
Yep.
right. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, being honest. Thing.
Yeah.
I can go next.
Okay.
I'm Carrie. Trisha, I don't know if you know this, but that's my mom. Lori is
I
my mom.
wait, yes, she did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
told
Cool.
her.
Cool. Well, because Trisha knows my sister-in-law, and like, so it's like all coming full
It's all
circle.
in the painful.
Yeah. So I am aware of a boundary that I have been working on for like a year. So as you all maybe know, maybe not Trisha, but everyone else, I went through a breakup where I like got dumped and like just like felt like the worst thing ever. Then I was single. I was like, okay, I actually really enjoy being single. It was fine. But now I'm dating a new person ish. And he's very, very nice, but I can like quickly get in like distracted by like a new person, especially because I work from home. So I can be like, oh yeah, like whatever, just come over. But then I'm like, no, I'll get distracted if someone's here. So I've been enforcing the boundary of okay, I need to keep taking care of myself and not get distracted by someone.
Hmm.
Because that's like an
Hmm.
energy leak where I will just, I don't know what it is about me. It's more fun, I guess, to go
Yeah.
and hang
Yeah.
out and like get to know. But it's like I don't want that to happen because I just got like too involved before, and that didn't feel good.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
still like my peace and my home and my job and my doing all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's it. I don't
I
know how
think
to
that's,
put it
well,
together.
I think that's great. And I think what you're identifying too is like if you can have a clear intention by keeping that separate for now, at some
Mhm.
point you could have a grayer area. But for now, when you're trying to strengthen that muscle, having kind of a firm boundary there sounds like it makes a lot of sense and can be really
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm doing an okay job. Like, for example, yesterday I had to like drop something off with him, and I was like, okay, I could like stay and not do what I need to do. But I was like, I gotta go home. Like, I gotta put my blinders on. I'm going home. I still have work to do. Goodbye. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
working on
All
currently.
right. Nice. Yeah. Jamie, Trisha, who would like to share next?
Jamie, you want to go?
Sure, I can go. The questions, Tanya, that
Mm-hmm.
you brought up, they seem to overlap too.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was
Yep.
just
Yeah.
something I
Yeah.
noticed,
And
but yeah,
totally, totally.
yeah,
They're like both the same thing, really. What? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my energy drain that I'm trying to pay attention to and get better at, like doing my own check-in, is I do overcommit in both, sometimes both work and social. So I have
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes there's overlap too, because there might be like a chair massage event, but it's like a social thing too.
Yes.
Um, and but then I beat myself up when I have the quiet times, because there's like all the really busyness, like my with my
Mm-hmm.
business. And by the way, I'm Jamie, and I'm calling in from Northern Virginia, Aldie, Virginia. And I'm Tanya's sister. But I also like I'm a massage therapist, and my business is still growing. So I feel like I have to, go, 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 go. network and go to this thing and go to that thing. And if I'm not, like, I feel like I'm being not doing a good job. And I need to get better at paying attention to what drains my energy. I mean, I was doing farmers markets and I made the decision to phase out of that because it was, even though I was getting new clients from it and I enjoyed it most of the time, but there's so much involved with the setup and the breakdown and the time commitment and invading on my weekends because there were either Saturdays or Sundays. And I just decided like I need to um, not do those anymore and just be more focused on what I have energy for and that it's okay. Like if I don't have energy also for something that I might ordinarily commit to, if I don't go, it's the only person it hurts, if I do go, the only person it hurts is myself. And if I don't go, that people are understanding. So I'm just trying to figure that out, that balance.
Yeah. You mentioned something about when it gets quiet too. Can you just say a little bit more about that side of it?
Um, I think I hear all the voices in my head of other people asking me like, "Oh, well, how many massages do you do a week and how many do you do a day?" And my business is not all about doing massages because so much of it is also growing my business and it still depletes my energy. So then I guess I feel
Mm.
like I should be scheduling more massages than I am,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
I'm trying to just, pay attention to it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
What was that?
feeling
I'm
and
just
that
thinking, I just heard something, I think on the podcast, actually. I was also talking about the pacing and how I am so impatient with myself, or that was something I had to work on. So I totally get that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and like productivity versus like um just being able to take a breath.
Right. Right. And also judgments that maybe pop up when you, like what you're describing, but then that's part of what doesn't allow rest and to really
Hmm.
fight for it. Let's fight for rest.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I will duel for a good
Yes.
nap.
Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. And Trisha, what's coming up for you?
All right. So, God, timing's perfect. I'm Trisha. I'm in Annapolis, Maryland. And so I had not gotten paid by one of the insurance companies in Hawaii for five weeks. And th this hasn't happened with this particular insurance. Like this was really shocking and everywhere I turned, I was getting conflicting information and luckily I felt supported. I contacted my malpractice insurance to ask what is expected. And luckily this woman called back and she sounded like a real Erin Brockovich. Hopefully she was right, but she's like, okay, here's what you need to know. You can't abandon your clients, but you also can't continue to not get paid. And so she gave me some ideas as to what to do. And it was really hard because that meant telling my clients, one, I have to pause treatment and until I get paid, and I'm going to ask that you reach out to the insurance company and let them know that they're not paying me and that you'd like to continue work. So I didn't know when I would need to do this, but because there's been so much conflicting information and there's no resolution, I listened to your podcast interview this morning and I started to send out emails asking my clients, telling them what's going on and asking them, to reach out. And so a lot has come up for me in that process that I think that I'm, and luckily several people have already replied because it's early in Hawaii and people are like, I'm calling them right now, or I'm going to go knock down their door. Like, thank you. But it's interesting having to ask for help on this level is is really different, especially for my clients. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm gonna have to, how do I keep this boundary firm?
Hmm.
If it doesn't get resolved, how do I navigate it emotionally, clinically, legally, that kind of
Right, right, right. So many layers, so many steps. But I love what you're describing is like, okay, like I'm going to go to this next step. And it's sort of out of your comfort zone, it sounds like, but it's not the hugest step in the world. And so, like, you can go to this next thing and sort of see where you're at and then make all those decisions as you cross each bridge. I think so many times we can get so far ahead trying to figure out the whole plan when you don't know yet. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah. Thank you. Nice. Okay. So the first, this one might be a tricky one to answer. I mean, just the first question that I wanted to throw out there to us as we talk about, did everybody have a chance to listen to the podcast or did anybody not? Because then we can sort of just give a little background if anybody didn't as we
I
check.
listened to some of it. It was,
Okay. Okay. So I'll just sort of summarize, and then if there's anything that feels unclear, we certainly can say a little bit more. But so this first one is like, well, what does slip under the radar? I was talking about liking really that definition that said the inner and outer noise that slips under the radar and keeps us stuck. So, what are some of these things that are slipping under the radar? Um, and we kind of just shared some of our own stories about something current, but I'm wondering if, like, what kind of things do slip under the radar? And do you understand, Lori, what I'm sort of even asking? Okay, cool.
yeah.
So what comes to mind about what slips under the radar? I mean, I'll say what's coming up for me is the idea of automatic pilot and how ingrained some of this messaging is. We don't even realize it's driving us. And so I think there are things like, oh, I've done a good job when we're hustling for worth, for example. Like if that's a limiting belief that we're struggling with, oh, I've got to hustle for my worth. So I've got to do all these things, even like what Jamie was describing about building her business and making a choice to say no to something, even though it did have a good positive impact on building her business. And so, depending on what the story is, it can pull us into something, feeling badly about it, feeling like, well, I just need to work harder. I need to think about it harder. And really questioning some of those stories is where we can begin to stop letting that run the show. So I think it's that ingrained, when it's so ingrained, we don't even necessarily question it. And when we identify what a good job is, when it's connected to old beliefs like hustle mentality is just what I'm focusing on right now. But yeah, what else is coming up for you guys?
I think for me, a lot of my issues are maybe issues or opportunities that I always want to fix everybody's everything.
Mhm.
I want to be the one to make your life happier. I mean things that I really can't. I really honestly I know deep down in my heart that that I do good things, but
Mhm.
when it comes to certain people, I'm like I didn't do
Mhm.
enough. I
Yeah.
Carrie
Yeah.
tells me, you put your own oxygen mask on first. She tells me
Yeah.
all the time. But, and like with Sherry, deep down, I feel like Sherry's made, that's my friend that we were talking
Yep.
about. But she
Yep.
made the comment, like, everything nice that I have, you've given to me. And she doesn't have a good relationship with her children. So she loves my children. And
Mhm.
so I carried that with me, like, well, if I don't let her back in, then, I'm going to be letting her down.
Mm.
Not accepting the fact that it's not been really the best thing for me right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she has nothing and I have a lot. And I'm my own worst enemy, I guess, maybe or something. I don't.
Oh, So Liz, this is Jamie and my sister, is joining us now. I'm not sure if I'm going to let her in. I actually don't even know if she's listened to the podcast, so we'll find out. So hang on, Lori. I'll respond in a second. We'll give her. She's connecting to audio. I don't know if you guys see that. Do you see that?
I don't.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm on my big desktop.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, hi, Liz.
Hello.
Hey.
How
Are
are
you
you?
gonna are you gonna put your camera on or no? It's okay either way. I just
Oh, I don't know. I have to ask my tech person who just walked by. Paul,
oh,
I
okay.
don't know my
It's
camera.
okay. Liz, it's okay. We're just hearing from Lori. Unfortunately, because you're joining now, you missed kind of the intros, but you do know some of the people here. So Lori was just sharing about sort of an understanding. I think what you shared, oh, hey, what you shared with us is an understanding of it, a common limiting belief that you get stuck on. Actually, you kind of shared more the behavior. The behavior is that you always want to take care of people. We don't know necessarily what the limiting belief is underneath that, other than what you shared about your friend when you said, well, I feel bad that I have some nice things that she doesn't have. And so that's a clue. There's a little bit of a clue that there is something there that pulls you. There is something like you want there maybe that you do in general feel bad if you don't feel like other people have some of the, I don't know whether it's the gifts that you have or the experiences that you have, and that's a piece of it. Now, we were talking about what slips under the radar. And so, if we take what you just shared with us, which is this very strong guiding force for you,
yes.
that it's so automatic. It's such a part of how you show up in the world. And I think that's an example of something that both slips under the radar and doesn't. You have some awareness about it,
I do.
but it's also such an automatic way of how you show up in the world. I'm sure you lose it also.
Oh,
And so you have both.
yeah.
Yeah.
I even when I go to I get these injections in my eyeballs because of diabetes, blah blah blah. But even when I go to this doctor,
Hmm.
I ask him. Well, I ask for a grade. Okay, was I a A, B, or C?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. I'm allowed to. She's my mom.
Yeah, well, I'm smiling. I mean, because I'm smiling from a place of recognition too. Like, not
Mm,
that I do that specifically, but that wish, right? Like, how'd I do? How are
that
people
I do.
receiving me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Yeah. Was it
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
Yeah. Was it?
Yes.
Oh, was
And
it?
that might be a little hustle for worth. Did we lose her?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
We did. That's
we
weird.
did at a very
Maybe
All
she
right.
maybe she got excited.
All
Let's
right.
see.
So I think she'll hop back on and I can sort
Yeah.
of finish this thought when she hops up. Oh, here
I
she is.
saw a hand raised somewhere though when
Okay.
we were in
Oh,
that
that was
meeting.
Yeah.
actually me, but you all finished your thoughts first, and then I'll
Okay.
pop
I'm
in.
All
back.
right.
You
Lori,
guys,
just the last thing I was going to say is like it feels like a little bit of a hustle for work culture kind of idea. Like I need to present myself in a way that people will only think positive things about me.
Well,
mhm.
that's kind of true.
Hmm. Yeah.
Never thought of it that way
Yeah,
before.
yeah. So, right. So, thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing that. And Liz, did you say you had a thing that you also wanted to?
Yeah, who was the woman who just shared?
Lori, that's
Lori.
Lori right here. Yep.
That was very insightful. I appreciate it. I'm one of Tanya's sisters also.
I'm Carrie's mom. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say that I do the same thing when I go to my psychiatrist. When I go, well, at the moment it's not live, it's online, but we go through the whole appointment. We have a catch-up appointment every month. We find what kind of meds I'm on. Are they helping? Are they not helping? We find out what the key issues are either they happened or they didn't happen yet during the appointment. And then at the very end, I ask her for a grade, like, how did I do? So,
Mm.
That's
So you guys are
wild.
kindred
Absolutely.
spirit.
and
Wow.
I like it. I like it actually
I do
because
too.
it
Well,
has like a marker. It puts a marker in the session and, it gives me some feedback that I can take home with me.
Yeah.
can
So
you
I
just
get it.
Yeah, I just kind of want to
So
pause it, or
cute.
not pause, but like underscore what you both just did, right? Like Liz just identified it as something she likes. And then Lori, you just piped up and you're like, I do too. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think that's such a great example of nuance and identifying what serves us and what doesn't, and not throwing, I say this horrible expression a lot, but not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, like just like keeping the gems. What are the gems for each of us? What are the things that do work for us, even if it's maybe connected to a pattern that doesn't work for us? Because I think that's what you're saying, Lori, is like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
have this pattern and it guides a lot of things in me.
It
And
does.
there are parts of it that I think maybe I would keep, and parts of it that really don't serve me, and starting to really get some clarity on that. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So
can I
thank
share one
you.
more thing since I'm going on a roll here?
Sure.
So my name is Liz. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet.
Yes.
My other thing is that, and I just had my group therapy this morning, which is why I'm getting close to being therapied out, but don't take offense, I won't go there. But I want to say that whenever I choose or I have invites to go somewhere, the last moment I might feel ill in some way, and I drink my Diet Coke and I eat my snack and I try to get out of the door in one piece. And I might take snacks for me in my purse because that's another, I might excuse myself in the bathroom in the middle of an event just to go have my bar in the bathroom. And one of the things that my therapist says that I do is that I choose the off ramp, that I'm getting ready to do something. And for whatever reason, I choose the off ramp, and that I have to get rid of that bad habit because even if I don't want to go, there are ways of preventing myself from going down the off ramp and try to rally so that I can
Mhm.
do something. And
Yeah.
that's I've talked for the whole rest of the time. Everybody else
Yeah.
pipe in.
But I like what you're saying about recognizing the pattern, like that's part of what we're talking about, and then figuring out a few things that you can do to help. And then it's not like, okay, done, pattern's over. That's not how it works, right? So kind of areas of work on that particular pattern for yourself, and sort of maybe having a routine of checking in with yourself connected to that. So, yeah. Yeah. Other thoughts? Trisha, anything coming up for you with this idea of what slips under the radar? That idea.
Yeah. So, oh, hi Liz. It's nice to see you. I had this weird
Hi, good
psychic
to see you.
premonition that you would join today, but I had no idea. That was my heart just dropped.
That's so fun.
Ah,
This is the first time Liz has joined. So
first
it's
time.
funny that you
I
would
have
even,
no idea, but
yeah.
I know I met you at Steve's funeral and we drove in the back seat of the car and you're so sweet. And
Mm.
anyway, so yeah, I'm glad to see you. And I'm the same way. I get sick all the time and have bodily stuff and take the off ramp. And thank God to Jamie and Tanya. I swear to God, are like they're like my highway, what do you call it? Tow trucks, and be like,
Oh gosh.
just go, just go. And I'll be like, all right, I'll go for a little while. So what goes under the radar is, I think, what I need as things evolve. So,
Mm.
and just to capture that, like kind of Jamie, starting like my private practice 100 years ago, right? Like there was this hustle and this rhythm that I could sustain. And I was single, I didn't have kids, I could make it all about that. But as my life evolved and, I got married and had three stepkids and life happens, and the whole world like now is even changing, right, with mental health and what the requirements are for, certain things in private practice, which impacts relationship. Again, the layeredness, it's like it all moves so fast and it's like you're just unraveling.
Yeah,
Did that make sense?
Yeah. It
it does.
does. It really is. I feel so connected to what you're saying. I mean,
Me
I
too.
love what you're saying about, but we grow and evolve. So actually, what we need changes. And if we're not
Hmm.
checking in about that, then we can stay kind of repeating these patterns that we haven't even checked with ourselves about whether or not they still serve us. And I think for me, having lost Steve, my husband, in April, I wouldn't have necessarily been able to predict how things would change, but having only me to check in with is different. Like,
Yeah,
huh, what do I want now? What am I choosing now? So I think that that's a big example. But like what you were describing about when you were first building your practice, you were at one stage of your life, and then a lot of other things evolved. And yeah, and maybe if you don't shift your expectations at all, then it can be really in the way. Yeah.
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 I definitely can I jump in and say quick?
Yeah.
Because it's really related to what you just said, Trisha, but then also Jamie, because I have been doing this new revenue stream of sewing dog bandanas and selling them at like farmers market adjacent type of events. And it's starting to really pick up. But
Ooh.
I'm noticing, and this is where I'm like relating to you and what you just said, Trisha, is it's like it's evolving, right? So like I don't necessarily know at that time, okay, this is an energy leak or this something's not working here. All I know is I'm tired for like the next 3 days and I have to like recalibrate and think what worked, what didn't, like,
Mhm.
what is or what do I do? Do I like the setup and the breakdown? Because it really is such a biatch. And these events are typically at like breweries. So they give me these vendor beers. So it is like that social slash business. So it's draining in some capacity, but I don't know it yet because things
Yeah.
are evolving. So I'm just letting it play out and dueling for my nap when I need it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and just trying to balance it all because it is bringing in income. I can't say no at this
Right.
point. I just have
Right.
to figure out where the balance is.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you could say no, but you don't choose to
I don't
say
want
no.
to. Not yet.
And and I love what you're saying too about this idea of like as we're in transition with things, as things are growing and building in our lives, we really don't know a lot yet. And to
Yeah.
give it time and to trust ourselves. I think that's where like to trust ourselves, like what you said about the nap, like, all right, also need to be intentional about this. It's fitting in differently now that I have this other piece. And I may pull back at some point in a certain way, but I just don't know how yet, how I would
Yeah.
want to do that. So,
Yeah. It's like I have
yeah.
to wait for the dust to settle and just really tuning into, like, for me personally, like when I know
Hmm.
I'm like sleepy, that
Hmm.
something is going awry when I'm like
Yeah.
really so sleepy. So like, okay, something, I don't know what it is. I need the dust to settle for me to know, but I have this clue and it's exhaustion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Nice. Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.
Jamie, anything for you with this idea of what's slipping under the radar?
I liked, Carrie, how you talked about recalibration. I mean, that's a good way really to put it. Like, just I was feeling that too. Like I would do the exert all this energy for, I had this 8-day period where I did 6 chair massages in 8 days, and I was just like I was so spent after it. Um and then, and realizing that that's what happens to me when I have like a farmer's market, that it just really takes time to kind of come back and take a breath after that. Um,
It does. It's a
so,
lot of energy.
and I kind of forget about it sometimes because I'm like, okay, if there's availability on the schedule, I will just put things there. And then,
Mm.
sometimes I shoot myself in the foot and be like, oh, okay, I kind of forgot, like it
Yeah.
was something that I wasn't, considering.
Yeah.
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 So the
Can I ask you,
recalibration, that's a good way to put it. And
yeah, like, do you ever set aside time? Because I've learned to really, like, I'll look ahead at my week or whatever, and then I'm like, okay, I have like let's say Sunday to Monday, I have like 36 hours. That's my recalibration. Like, and I'm going to be very protective over that time,
Yeah.
like super protective over it. So I plan the recalibration and the rotting.
That's good.
I'm just wondering if there's room, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes I'm able to do that when, because I work for somebody else on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and when someone doesn't book me, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to make other plans to do stuff for myself, but it goes so quickly. But yeah, like so sometimes I'm able to kind of put those in there, like
Yeah.
you're suggesting. That's a good
And
idea.
I wonder because like some people, sorry, I'm like,
It's okay.
I just have an idea. Sometimes like you know how it's hard for people to rest. I think my mom's kind of like that, and I think you've described it. But if you plan, okay, I plan to rest. This is what's on my to-do list right now. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
wouldn't there be
yeah, yeah.
less mental noise of when you are planning? You're like,
Right.
no, I'm supposed to be doing this.
Permission, like really giving
That,
Yeah.
yourself permission. And right, like when you feel that pull to like be productive, this isn't what we do,
Mm.
like reminding yourself that you have created this space for that purpose.
mhm,
And yeah, I love
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to the idea of sort of energetic clutter. If we look at everything that
I love
everybody
it.
shared, I think it's like a lot of energetic clutter, and it stays as energetic clutter when we're not recognizing it, when we're not naming it for ourselves, when we're not kind of, even if we don't know exactly yet, we're not sort of saying, huh, there's this thing that's going on that I don't love. It's not serving me, so I want to pay attention to it. So all these things that are interfering with our energy levels and our like ability to connect to what we need or what lights us up, all of that is energetic clutter. But when you're kind of using it as a learning tool, I don't actually see it as energetic clutter exactly. I mean, it still is, but it's you're now shifting it and you're learning from it, identifying what you need. It's not running the show. It's depleting you maybe at moments, but it's not sort of taking as much space as it once did. So I think starting to name, oh, there's a thing that if I don't pay attention, I mean, if we think about it like actual physical clutter in a space, if we don't clear the room out, then even if we name everything, it's still clutter. But if we start to be in a process where the clearing is what we want to honor for ourselves, then I feel like it's starting to change form, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
All right. Thank you. So boundaries and overdoing. Now we talked about some boundaries that people shared earlier in sort of the intro, but I'd be interested to hear from all of you, like any experiences to share about boundaries. It doesn't have to be current. It could even be like, oh, I struggle with it. It could be I struggle with it to set boundaries with myself, but I'm better at it with other people or vice versa. Um, yeah, so what does come up for you guys about just boundaries in general?
Hmm. I don't do well with boundaries. I
Mm,
want to,
yeah,
but I don't. And
yeah,
I I've struggled with that for a long time. Like
yeah.
I really have. I don't want to disappoint anyone.
I was thinking it went hand in hand with what you've shared
That's
so
that's
far. Yeah,
the biggest thing. I don't want to disappoint anyone
yeah, yeah. And
at the risk of
so,
myself.
right. What did you say? But then
At
you
the
end up,
risk of my own self.
yeah, yeah. But it sounds like when you're talking about it that you do have some awareness of it. You
I,
said I've wanted to. So it's like you have done some of the work to identify where the boundary might be needed, identifying even what boundary you might set. Is that something you've gotten that far or not even that far? You don't quite even know what boundary you would set. Okay. So more that you kind of are aware when a boundary might be needed, but then that's where it kind of
it
doesn't go much
yeah, all
further.
fizzles out because their feelings are more important than mine are.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
We're working on that, Lori.
we're working on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know like I can say no. I know that. But then
Uh-huh.
I go beyond that. So
Yeah.
I can't just say, okay, I'm gonna say no. then I'm going to overanalyze, then I'm going to feel bad about it. And then, so I don't stop with the no.
Right,
My
right.
mind,
But do you say the no or you don't say the no?
I don't say it very often.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Working on it.
We're working on
Yeah.
it.
Working on it. The
Right.
awareness is there.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking of all the discomfort that does come up and to really honor the fact that as we make any of these changes, typically there's a lot of discomfort that goes along with that, especially because what you're describing, Lori, about like, oh, I don't want to disappoint anybody.
I
So
don't.
there is that discomfort when you say no of like, how are they receiving it? Are they okay? Sometimes
That's
people
it.
immediately reassure you and then you feel better, but then perhaps you're dependent even on some of that reassurance. Yeah.
Exactly true. That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yep. So, are you all okay if I kind of just hop around the screen and like
Sure.
I'm looking at you, Trisha, do you mind sharing what comes up for you about boundaries in general for you?
Yeah, will I not be liked?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And yeah, I think at the end of that was kind of even hard to say.
Yeah. That's a factor. Mm-hmm. Why
Yeah.
is that hard to say? I have a guess, but why would you say that's hard to say?
I don't know. Well, it felt very raw. Like I didn't get
Mhm.
into the wording of everything else. Like I just kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't want to worry about that or something. Like why was that raw, would you say, if it's okay to ask?
well, I was thinking, oh, I did so well with the whole insurance thing, setting a
Uh-huh.
boundary there, and I did some other boundary setting like this morning and yesterday as a result of it, but it took me not getting paid for 5 weeks.
Mm.
And I was reflecting on a newer client that came in that has a lot of needs. And
Hmm.
I really like her, but I'm like literally I was being honest with my availability, and I think I'm doing it in a way that isn't over accommodating when I realize like I'm one, there's the like factor, but there's this need to like over like I'm doing more work sometimes
Yeah.
than my clients, and I want to be cautious of that.
Yes,
There's
yes,
like
yes.
this, it's that's kind of a mix of things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But to sort of do a good job, to feel like people can receive it well because you're offering it in such a nice package. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So, all right, thank you. And Carrie, what's coming up for you with regards to sort of the boundary idea?
I feel like what comes up for me, and Tanya, Tanya and Jamie and my mom probably all know this. I don't struggle with setting boundaries all that much. I never really have. And I don't know if it's like a me thing because I can be the like, and I do care what people think about me, but I just strongly feel at the end of the day, those who will like me will, and those who won't. So I just don't. I just for some
Hmm.
reason don't
You
care.
don't stress it. Yeah.
I don't. But I also know, like, I have one friend that struggles with boundaries, but a lot of them don't. And especially, like, I have a lot of younger friends too, and I, for some reason, date younger people. No issues, like, accepting or enforcing boundaries. So I'm just like, it makes me curious, not only about
Mm.
myself, like, I've shared this before, am I just like kind of a heartless bitch? But I also wonder if, which I know that I'm not, I know I can lean that way, but I know that I am compassionate and I do care at the end of the
Yes,
day.
we know.
But thank you. I hope it doesn't go up that way. But I just
You are.
wonder if there's something that changed or like because like my mom, as you saw, like, and she shared, struggled a lot with that, but I didn't get any of that. So was there something that like you did, mom, or societally changed
Yeah, yeah,
to where it's okay? I don't
yeah.
like not okay, but
Right.
feels better for
Right. I mean, I think it's a combo of things.
you. Yeah.
Probably people in your generation are better maybe than people and some of
And
the
I want to say,
older.
especially young, because right in the millennial, like I'm right
Yeah,
millennial, but like especially the younger millennials or like Gen Z, literally no issue. You can just be like, no, period,
yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas
And
maybe
so,
with my friends and growing up, we did a little bit of explaining and a little bit of people pleasing, but we grew out of it quickly.
yeah.
I don't know.
What I was going to suggest is that you watched your mom sort of struggle with this your
Oh
whole
yeah,
growing up. And so
yeah,
as a young person forming, I think it's
yeah,
part of the process is to see, oh, I don't want to repeat that, especially with our parents, because we're so sort of
yeah.
up close. And I know really more my older daughter than Molly, but my older daughter, I think, saw me with my people-pleasing tendencies and she recognizes it easily and she's like, I don't want to do that. And I think she is much
Yeah,
better at not saying yes if it doesn't serve her. I mean, I think
yeah,
she still has some people pleasing tendencies, but, and I think part of that is being able to see me do it and say, like, no, I don't want to do that. So,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Yeah, so those are my
Yeah.
thoughts.
And it's interesting too. I'm just thinking because I'm here and my two sisters are here, and our mom might have set boundaries in a very harsh way that was really hard to receive when we were
That's my mom
kids.
too.
That your
That's
mom would set boundaries in a harsh. That's interesting.
That's my
Okay.
mom too. Or
Yeah.
my mom, grandmother.
Yeah. So, right. And so I think for me, that was part of the people pleasing stuff. It's like I didn't love how it felt to be on the receiving end of my mother setting harsh boundaries. And so I think part of my development was like, I'm not going to do that, but not realizing how dangerous it really is. I don't know if dangerous is the right word, but probably like to get,
Maladaptive, maybe.
yeah, yeah, to sort of use people-pleasing tendencies as a way to like find worth. Yeah,
I
Trisha.
agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
this all ties it. So, Care, I've been watching a bunch of like Hallmark Christmas movies, and a lot of them
Uh-huh.
are based
As
in
you
like,
should, yes.
in, a lot of
Did
them
you
are
say
based
as you should?
That's
That's
it.
so cute.
just
Anyway, keep
wanting
going.
everything to be light. Anyway, so, but one of the things I keep seeing is, people in these, corporations and how they have to sacrifice themselves and do whatever the boss wants until they figure out they're getting railroaded or whatever. And it just made me think, Carrie, when you were talking, where, like my grandmothers they didn't work. My mother was the first person who actually had a
Mhm.
career, and there weren't boundaries. I mean, she's all over the place, but highly successful. And now I think I had this realization in my career, even though it's forced me to set a lot of boundaries, but I think there's still the customer is always right, this need to acquiesce, and so I think
Mhm.
there's an
Mhm.
element of generational
Yeah.
things that does that make sense what I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say? Like, and Jamie, I'm saying this in relation to, because I know you're going through trying to develop, your clients and all of that. So I think we're dealing with like newer generations that have been able to actually vote or work or,
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And have
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a voice that's also heard, you know?
Well, they're
Because like
putting it out there. They, as in
yeah.
you, you and your peers,
And
putting their
especially the
voices out
younger
there.
ones though, like
Yeah.
Gen Z is really the
Yeah.
ones that are like speaking out. But I'm thinking of what you said, Trish, is like uh our grandparents or did like they might have had work but and they had a voice, but was it heard?
Hmm.
You know, or it's like kind of scared to speak up. Now it's like people are talking and people are listening. It's a
Yeah.
two-way communication now, which maybe
Yeah.
that's where the change is coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. So we only have just
I
just
know
a
we've
little
been
while. I
chatting
know we've been
today.
chatting. So I'm sorry. I know Liz and Jamie, I was going to come to you guys about boundaries in general, but let's switch gears because I want everybody to kind of have a chance to say their takeaway. And if you'd rather comment on boundaries than that, go ahead. But I would say if everybody can say just based on our conversation, based on the podcast, what's a takeaway that you really want to put your energy towards after this? So, Trisha, are you okay to, oh, I saw Lori's head
Oh
shake.
no, no.
Okay. Trisha,
I,
are you okay to go first with that? Or,
Yeah, I just want to
yeah.
say that I had this realization thanks to Liz showing up, but it's also thanks to this morning I sent off those emails, I canceled my appointments, and I actually like really did something. And I had the space for my intuition, which I thought about Zarna saying our
Love
biggest brain
that.
is intuition.
Yes.
And I had the thought, oh, I wonder if Liz would join today. And I'm like, that's
So
interesting.
funny.
Yeah. And so but because I wasn't weighed down by, not being paid, what am I going to do? Fear. And anyway, so that's that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
that's
like space. It's space. I got space. Ooh, I have chills.
Yeah, and that's what I wrote in sort of that beginning where I sort of shared the definition of my work. I said, when you clear that clutter, then you can reconnect with your inner wisdom and build a life that feels aligned and meaningful. And so I think what you're speaking to is like clearing that clutter gives you that space, and then that's your experience of some of that sort of synergistic and serendipitous stuff, like stuff just kind of feels a little bit easier. You're a little bit more connected to
Exactly.
it.
So
Yeah.
thank you. All right.
Yeah.
That's
Love
some,
it.
oh my
Love
God.
it. Yeah. Carrie, you're next on my screen.
And I'll go fast. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I'm so sorry, guys. Just the concept of energetic clutter itself, like uh when I learned about it, of course, like working with you, but I really have applied it to a lot of personal things and share it with people. I just think it's helpful, the concept itself, to kind of name it, these like things that, like we said earlier, can really go under the radar. And I don't know, I just think
Yeah.
that it's a helpful concept for humans, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and just it sounds like to catch things because when you have sort of a name for it, then it can
Yes.
kind of help you frame something so you know what to do with it, even.
And the
Yeah.
action, yeah, and like what, maybe what to do next.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Liz. And so I
Oh,
would
I had a
say you
feeling it was going to be my turn next. And thanks, Trisha, for that heads up. And I enjoyed meeting you as well. I remember chit-chatting in the back of that car. That was fun. Um, I guess I don't know what I would take away from this, but I just wanted to revisit boundaries because I sometimes feel, and I think it's Lori who said something about boundaries, also about letting other people have to be in charge of you, even if you don't
right.
mean that to happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I really identify with that. And part of the reason I identify with it is because I consider myself to be an introvert, and that to recharge my batteries, I go away from like a big crowd of people and
Mhm.
I sit in the bathroom for a little while, or I walk into the backyard for a little while just to kind of cool my jets a little bit, or I take out, you know, art supplies and paper and colors, and I just kind of let my brain kind of decompress for a little bit.
Nice. Thank you. Love that. All right. Lori, what about you?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking that what I've come to realize through this our thing today or the today, it's not possible for me to make everybody else happy. That's not
Mm.
I have to accept my allow myself to put boundaries out there because I'm
Oh,
never going to be able it's never going to I can't fix everybody and I
right, right.
but I want to fix myself. And I think
Yeah.
when I fix myself, because it's good to set when I do set a boundary and keep it,
Uh-huh.
I'm flying high.
She
It
really
Yeah.
is.
Oh,
She
I love that. And I love what you
very
sort of
proud of
said
herself.
is like the drive, the like, oh, I'm doing this thing. That's when, if you're unconscious about it, you do it because you're thinking, oh, I can fix the world. And then when you kind of say, oh, wait, I can't do that anyway,
right.
it kind
That's
of helps you.
That
Yeah.
just like a ton of bricks. Like it's not
Yeah.
possible. It's not possible. So
Right. Right.
And the only
that's
person you have to live with day to day is yourself. You don't have
Right.
to live like you're not, your own inner turmoil is the loudest.
it is.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got to quiet that if you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Lori. And Jamie.
Yeah, so I had listened to Tanya's podcast previously, and I was I needed the refresher to listen to it again, and it was I almost learned new things about it, or resonated with new things about it. So I appreciated that opportunity to be like, oh yeah, okay. Um, and just I feel like I did resonate with a lot of what other people had said today, and regarding the boundaries too. Like I overcommit myself sometimes to when I help a friend that needs help with doctor's appointments or her kids or something, and I put her first, and I put myself second, and I
Mm.
am realizing that, I always sort of justify, like, well, I did agree to it, or yeah, well, I said yes, like, so I know I
Mhm.
have the power to say yes or no.
Ah.
And I guess I just what I'm resonating with what other people, like, it's not up to me to heal other people. Like
Yeah.
that's what Lori was kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Right.
as much as I would like to, and I'm always in that
Yeah.
mindset, like, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
So, but definitely, giving myself permission to put myself first.
Yeah. I love that. And I wasn't actually going to say anything necessarily because I know we're done for time, but just what you were saying, Jamie, something that I've been giving myself permission lately is the permission to change my mind because I'm also very much like that. If I've said yes, then I've got to stick with it. And especially now, sort of um, going through the grieving process, I feel like I've given myself a lot more permission and also receive a lot more permission from people in the world, and so kind of it's an opportunity for me to like really honor what matters because I know I'll get support for whatever I choose. And it's not always the case, but right now people are so, I think, open to whatever works for me in a way that isn't always the case. But yes, that idea of, oh, I actually can change my mind. It doesn't mean I'm a flaky person or I'm not reliable, and
Right.
sort of being very
Right.
intentional about that sometimes is the only way we know what we need is after we've already
Yeah.
kind of gone a certain
Anya,
direction.
and I don't want to act like the therapist, but since I'm a sister of a therapist, I think I maybe qualify. So I want to know how you feel when you change your mind.
Oh, that's such a good question. Because that speaks to everything that we've talked about, which is the discomfort piece, coming back to that, right? Like if it's something that goes against either a limiting belief that we've been carrying or just a habit and a pattern that we're so familiar with, it feels uncomfortable. And so, yeah, like if I change my mind and I have to say, I do have some discomfort with it. Um, but when I can be really clear that it's the best way to serve myself in that moment, then I tolerate the discomfort and make the choice anyway. And that's the work. I think the work is recognizing where do we need to shift things? Where do we need to give ourselves permission? And how do we do that? And then tolerating some of
Hmm.
the discomfort that goes
Okay,
along with
one more
that.
follow-up question. How do you think about that same question and think about it in terms of your daughters and you being their only role model right now?
Mm. Well, I feel like we can get more into it another time because we're really over now. But I would say I think living as authentically as I can live is always the best example for, my kids certainly and anybody else in my life just to show up in that real, full, honest way. So. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you all so much for being here. We did choose what's for next time. Next time, we're gonna do the Victoria Beckham documentary. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but I'm not really a fan of hers or anything, but I heard a podcast with her, and so it got me interested about the documentary, and I found it very inspirational. Like how she really had to name who she was and how to follow that. And it was just interesting, especially from the perspective of like her fame as like a pop star and sort of switching gears and all of that and dealing with everything that goes along with that. I found it very inspiring. So that's for next time. And you guys will just get a little, Carrie will send something out at some point that will have the links, but it's on Netflix if anybody's interested. And there's more stuff on my list, but we got most of it actually. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you all.
Yes.
Nice to meet you people.
Yeah, good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right,
thank you.
guys.
See
Bye,
you.
everyone.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
good
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.